Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namam Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prestha Bhutale, Srimate Sankarshan Sadikaditi Namine. Nama Prabhupada Noga Brahmoti Kapatmane, Gaudesha Visadutam Bhakti Varshane. Namam Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prestha Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samaniti Namine. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Hare Krishna. So, last time we were continuing Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, 31st verse. We completed 31st verse, and 30th verse, 31st verse, we saw how Prabhupada repeatedly mentions, the common point was that our actual self-interest is in Lord Vishnu. Presently we think that our self-interest is in sense gratification, but actually our self-interest is in devotional service. So we'll go to the next verse. This is 32nd to 35. Okay, would you like to read, Matji?
Yes, Mataji. Okay. Hare Krishna. Kim no Rajyena Govinda, Kim Bhoger Jivitena Iva, Yesam Arthe, Kangshitam no Rajyam Bhoga Sukhani Cha, Taime Vashchita Yudhe, Pranamsi Tvekta Dhanani Cha, Acharya Pitara Putras, तथैव च पितामहा मतुला स्वशुरा पौत्रा स्वाला संबंधिना तथा एतन् न हन्तुम् इच्छामि घतानुपि मधुसूदना अपि त्रैलोक्या राजस्य हेतु किं नो महि कर्ते निहत्य धर्तराष्ट्र न पितृ स्यज जनार्दना. Synonyms. Kim, what use na Krishna. Kim, what bhoga, enjoyment. Jivitena, living. Va, either. Yesam, of whom. Arthe, for the sake. Kangshitam is desired. Na, by us. Rajyam, kingdom. Bhoga, material enjoyment. Sukhani, all happiness, cha also, they, all of them, ime, these, avasthita, situated, yuddhe, on this battlefield, pranan, lives, tyaptava, giving up, dhanani, riches, cha also, acharya, teachers, pitra, fathers, putra, sons, tatha, as well as eva, certainly, cha also, pitama, grandfathers, matula, maternal uncles, swasura, fathers-in-law, Potraha, grandsons, Syala, brothers-in-law, Sambandhina, relatives, Tatha, as well as Eaten, all these, na, never, Hantum, to kill, Ichhami, do I wish, Ghyanta, being killed, Api, even, Madhusudana, O killer of the demon Madhu, Api, even if Trilokya of the three worlds, Rajasya of for the kingdom, Hito, in exchange, Kim knew what to speak of, Mahi Karte, or for the sake of the earth, Nihatya, by killing Dhritarashtra, the son of Dhritarashtra, na our ka, what Prithri, pleasure, Syata, will there be, Janardana, O maintainer of all the living entities. Translation. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me. Why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Purport. Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda because Krishna is the object of all pleasures for cows and the simple. By using this significant word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses, but Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, however, then automatically our own senses are satisfied materially. Everyone wants to satisfy his senses, and he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. But when one takes the opposite way, namely, when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are satisfied. Arjuna deep affection for community and family members it exhibited here. I lost it, Madhuri.
Okay, no problem. I'll just continue that. Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them.
Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them. He is therefore not prepared to fight. Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives, but Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed on the battlefield and he will be unable to share his opulence after victory. This is typical calculation of material life. The transcendental life, however, is different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord, and if the Lord is not willing, he should not accept a farthing. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, and if there are any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna kill them personally. At this point, he did not know that Krishna has already killed them before their coming into the battlefield, and that he was only to become an instrument for Krishna. This fact is disclosed in following chapters. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreant cousins and brothers, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. The devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who had done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, this is very important points Prabhupada mentions in this purport. So, further, Arjuna is saying, "O Govinda, what is the use of this kingdom?" Earlier we saw the symptoms of, when Krishna took, on the request of Arjuna, when Krishna took the chariot of Arjuna in between the two parties, two sides, seeing his own friends, relatives, maternal uncle, brothers, grandsons, and so on, he was Arjuna was like overwhelmed, and was his hair was standing on end. He was practically almost crying. In the last previous verses we saw Prabhupada mentions, and his Gandiva, the bow, was slipping from his hands, and so on. So, what is Arjuna is giving his point, like, what is the use of this kingdom, happiness, or even life itself? That like, even if we are victorious, then what is the use? Because for whom we will to whom we will show this victory or share our happiness or victory with, because everyone will be killed on the battlefield. All the relatives, fathers, grandsons, and so on, are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me. Why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am. So, this word Janardana, like earlier also we saw that we had discussed that Krishna is addressed with different names. Even Arjuna is addressed like somewhere Arjuna, somewhere Pritha, somewhere Dhananjaya, different names. So, as per the context or particular pastime or a particular activity, they have different names. Like Krishna specifically has different names. So the word, I mean, the name Janardana, it means one who maintains all living entities, that is Krishna. So, O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. So practically, there was only, presently there is democracy, different states, countries, and there are different leaders. But earlier in the Vedic culture, there was only one emperor of the whole, as we know, earlier the whole planet was actually Bharatvarsha. So that's why if we see here, I'm not, let alone this earth, what pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? So purport, Prabhupada mentions Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda because we have come across this name of the Lord before also in previous verses, which means that the name Govinda means he gives pleasure. Krishna is the object of all pleasure for the cows and the senses. So Go means it can refer to cows as well as senses. So by using this significant word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses, because Arjuna was not willing to fight. So Krishna should understand that. That is what he was trying to indicate. But Prabhupada gives the proper understanding of Govinda it's not that Krishna should satisfy our senses, but if we satisfy the senses of Krishna, that is how that is what we are supposed to do. When we satisfy the senses of Krishna, then automatically we will be satisfied, or our senses also will be satisfied. A very nice example of this is during when the Pandavas were sent to exile. They were living in the forest. So knowingly, there was an instance when Duryodhan sent Durvasa Muni along with his some thousands of disciples to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So they were actually staying in the forest. So it was not feasible for them to feed everyone. But Draupadi had got some boon earlier, that she had a specific, I think it is called Akshapatra or something, I don't remember, specific special kind of a pot in which as much as food can be, you can serve as much as food needed. But if Draupadi herself has taken food or prasadam, then there'll be no more food for that day, something like that. So Draupadi had already taken her, Akshapatra. So Draupadi had already taken her meals by that time, and Durvasa Muni along with his so many thousands of disciples came. So they received him nicely, and then he and all his disciples went to take a bath. They do afternoon some rituals, some whatever is there, certain activities before taking meals. So they went, and now the Pandavas, Draupadi, everyone were like, okay, how am I going to, how are we going to serve them? And if we don't serve him nicely, then he may get angry also, and it will not be very good, like, he's a guest. So at that time, what happened? Krishna comes, and he's like, oh, I'm very hungry. He tells to Draupadi that, okay, I'm very hungry, please give me something to eat. And Draupadi is like, see, now Durvasa Muni has become our guest with so many thousands of disciples, and we don't have anything to feed him, and we are so much, in anxiety about it. What are we going to do? And now you are asking for, because the relationship of the Pandavas, Draupadi, and Krishna was very intimate. So we cannot say in that way in our, but she was in that way. Oh, now you're asking me to give you something. I don't have anything at home, in that sense. Then Krishna said, no problem, you just bring me the pot. So she brought the pot, and there was some a little bit of something, rice or dal or whatever it was. Just Krishna took it, and he was like, uh, I'm full now. And once Krishna felt full, all Durvasa Muni, along with all his disciples, they were taking bath, and they started, kind of as if they have felt, full. So they felt, oh, if now we go to Yudhishthir Maharaj's place, then we will not be, able to have anything, because we are already full somehow. So they all went away from there. So what lesson we got? Krishna was satisfied here. Krishna felt full, like he was satisfied. So others, Durvasa Muni didn't have prasadam at Yudhishthira Maharaj's place and all, but Krishna is was satisfied, and therefore all of them were also satisfied. So this pastime shows that how there are so many pastimes practically, if we see, but this is one pastime that I remembered, to prove that how when Krishna is satisfied, then all others or our senses are also satisfied. If we try to satisfy sense of Krishna, okay, this we covered. Materially, everyone wants to satisfy senses, and he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. Yes, practically, before coming to Krishna consciousness, this is how we all were. Like, oh my dear Lord, please give me, please keep me in good health. Please let me pass my exams, or please I'm going for a job. Please bless that I can get my job, or my kids have exams. Let them do very nice in the exams, and so on. So practically, we make God our order supplier. That oh God, please do. Now delivery boy, what do you say? Oh, we place an order in the app for some delivery of some product or something. So the delivery boy comes and gives us the product. So practically, we are everyone in the present day is treating Krishna or the Supreme Lord as the delivery boy. Like, okay, please give me this, please give me that, please give me this. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, from Prabhupada books, Prabhupada's lectures, from our spiritual masters, practical application, seeing their examples, we understand that okay, the proper thing to do is we should see how can I serve Krishna. We shouldn't be asking Krishna to give us something, but we should be asking like, how can I serve you? Let me be engaged in your service. That is what the Hare Krishna Mahamantra means. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh my dear Srimati Radharani, and oh my dear Lord Krishna, please engage me in your pure devotional service. That's what we are begging for when we chant the Mahamantra. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. That is why sometimes we said we get whatever is we are supposed to get as per our karma. So the karmic reactions which we get is also a devotee takes that also as a mercy of the Lord, because in one way, if I'm suffering from some health, let's say, or something, that means what, I'm burning off my past some bad reactions, some bad activities. So it's reactions, I'm getting it right now. So those karmic reactions is getting reduced. Okay, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of living entities are satisfied. So we should try to satisfy the Lord, then we will be satisfied. Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them. He is therefore not prepared to fight. Everyone wants to show his opulence. So earlier also we had taken this example. If you win a trophy or something, if somebody is in school and they got a trophy in some sports or something, so as soon as you come home, we want to show that trophy to everyone and tell our friends and relatives that okay, I got this trophy and this and that. So everyone wants to show the success or opulence to friends and relatives, but Arjuna fears that all his relatives, they are all arrayed on the battlefield, so they all will be killed. So with whom is he going to share his victory? This is a typical calculation of material life. The transcendental life, however, is different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he can, the Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord. And if the Lord is not willing, he should not accept a farthing. So, but a devotional, from a devotee's point of view, um, he just wants, he just engages, by thought, words, deeds. He just wants to please the Supreme Lord. If by my thinking like this, will the Lord be pleased? By my speaking like this, will the Lord be pleased? By my acting like this, will the Lord be pleased? So whatever they do, their central point is not sense gratification, but sense gratification of the Lord. I mean, satisfying the senses of the Lord. So that is why we can take a common example. Um, Commonly, one may not be so much inclined to wake up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 4:30, like that. Normally, one may be waking up at, let's say, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or 8 o'clock. But then, when one comes to Krishna consciousness, and one gets to know, oh, there is Mangal Aarti in temple, and and it's nice, very nice to attend that. Then one may get up early in the morning, get ready, take bath and get ready, and may go to the temple by 4:30. Mangal Aarti starts, so by 4:30 they are in temple. So it is previously the same person was not interested to wake up early in the morning, but now after coming to Krishna consciousness, when we understand that okay, we should be doing everything for the pleasure of the Lord, so we should go and greet, or should be present for the Mangal Aarti. So normally a person might not have done this, but for the pleasure of the Lord, one wakes up early and takes that it may seem to be an austerity to get up early and go to the temple and attend the Mangalarti. So the central point becomes the pleasure of the Lord. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, and if there were any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna kill them personally. At that point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before they coming to the battlefield, because it was all arranged. Krishna, in further, we will see there comes a verse where Krishna mentions that he takes different incarnations in different millenniums. He comes in different incarnations in order to when he yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati, that particular verse, most of you might have heard that. Whenever there is decline of religious practices and increase in irreligious things, then he descends in different incarnations, in different millenniums. So Krishna specifically, first of all, he had killed in Vrindavan or Gokul. So many demons who were sent by Kamsa were killed. Then when he came to Mathura, he killed Kamsa. And then in this Mahabharat, Kurukshetra, so many kings and all had assembled, and kings like Duryodhan, and who were supporting him and were on the side of Adharma, they all were practically vanished from the, from the surface of the earth. So it was all Krishna's arrangement in one sense to establish Yudhishthira Maharaj as the emperor. At this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before they coming to the battlefield, that he was only to become an instrument for Krishna. This fact is disclosed in the following chapters. As a natural devotee of Krishna, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against the miscreant cousins. So, devotee's attitude is, if somebody comes and tries to, disrespects a devotee or tries to harm a devotee is not very much. Of course, if somebody wants to hit someone and you are devotee, you will not say that, okay, let me just take the beatings, not like that. But if somebody has done something wrong, generally a devotee tries his best to avoid retaliating, or just like the Pandavas also, they did everything to actually not go for the battle. They asked for 5 villages, so it was rejected. And so finally the battle happened. But generally, a devotee wants to avoid any kind of retaliate against his uh, enemies or so. But it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. The devotee of the Lord does not, he doesn't like to retaliate against the wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. So we can see that how much the Lord loves his devotees. And there is another, in the second chapter we'll come across this particular pastime, where it so happened that Ambarish Maharaj, who is a great devotee of the Lord, he is a king. He was a king. At the same time, he's a perfect example of one who engaged in all the 9 processes of devotional service. There are 9 processes of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, and so on. So he is the best example of one who engaged everything in the service of the Lord, or one who was engaged in all the 9 processes. So it so happened that there was some vrat, some fasting, Ekadashi or something, and there was a particular time, to Paran time, as we say, to break that fast. Now, just before that, Durvasa Muni arrived at his place, Ambarish Maharaj's place. So he received him and all, and then Durvasa Muni went for his afternoon whatever rituals or whatever activities before taking meals before being served at Ambarish Maharaj's place. So he went for his afternoon activities and all. Now the time of fast breaking was actually ending. So the Brahmanas and all, they told Ambarish Maharaj about it. So what did Ambarish Maharaj do? Actually, it is said that if you take water, he was fasting completely. So if he takes water, it is in one sense, because he was fasting completely, by taking water his fast is broken. At the same time, it will not be a disrespect to Durvasa Muni also, because just by taking water, like a guest comes to your place, you will serve the guest first. But it's, if you take water before serving the guest, so that is not a kind of disrespect or anything. So Ambarish Maharaj took water, and when Durvasa Muni returned, he was his great yogi, so he could know by his mystic power what had happened. So he became very angry that he was kind of disrespected. So he created from his hair or something, he created a demon to kill or to harm Ambarish Maharaj. And Ambarish Maharaj, he was just standing there itself, ready to, okay, whatever I have insulted or whatever, So let me just take the um, curse or whatever it comes. So he was just standing there. Um, he was just standing there. So what happened? When the demon went towards Ambarish Maharaj, immediately Sudarshan Chakra came and he was and protected Ambarish Maharaj, and then the Sudarshan Chakra went behind Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni practically had to run to across all planetary systems. He even went to Lord Brahma, Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Vaikuntha locals. He was so powerful. He could go to Vaikuntha loka also. But Lord Vishnu also said, I cannot do anything. You have to go back to my devotee and beg for his forgiveness. Then again he came to Ambarish Maharaj, fell at his feet. Ambarish Maharaj is a devotee, pure devotee, so he felt little embarrassed, somebody is falling at the feet, because devotee doesn't want that. Um, so then Durvasa Muni was saved from the Sudarshan Chakra. So that is an example of how the Lord does not tolerate any. So devotee may just ignore any kind of insult or anything to them, but the Lord doesn't tolerate any kind of mischief done to his devotee. And the same is happening here on the battlefield. The Pandavas were ready to excuse Duryodhan and his son and all of them, but Krishna had his own plan. Krishna wanted to establish dharma, and Yudhishthira Maharaj, who was actually Pandavas and all, who are all devotees, he wanted to establish them in the Yudhishthira Maharaj as the emperor, so he had his own plan. So that's how they were all on the battlefield. And Arjuna was just becoming an instrument, Nimitta Matra. Okay, so this was a long purport little bit, so I'll not go any further probably. I'll stop here. If anyone of you would like to share some points from what we discussed. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any points or any questions, or you can actually speak up or you can write it in the chat box.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, in the book Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is a paragraph mentioned that when Lord Vishnu appeared in front of Devaki and Vasudeva, they have taken birth. He told Vishnu had told them that remind them of their previous birth, that in spite of asking for liberation, both of them had asked them to service. So he said that liberation is not that important as to service to uh, the God. So please make me understand this point, because every time everyone mentioned about liberation, but here both of them had asked the God to get him as his son. So in the past three births, they got them as their son. So this line is liberation is not that important than to service to God. So kindly make me understand this line.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very thoughtful question. So we'll discuss philosophically. There's a pastime also in relation, just I remembered. Once Krishna had a headache. Of course, he's a supreme lord, he's not going to go through all physical ailments like us, but he has his own pastime. So this is a bona fide thing. So um, uh, so he had a headache. So he told his attendants or Narad Muni, I forgot that thing. So he told to his attendants or servants or devotee that that okay, if you bring me the dust of the feet of my devotees, that will cure my headache. So his attendants and all, they went to the Brahmanas. They are all worshippers of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So they all went to the Brahmanas and asked for the dust of their feet. So the Brahmanas were like, "Oh no! If we give dust, our feet dust will go to the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Then we are going to go to hell. No! We cannot give." So they came back. Then Krishna said, "Okay, did you go to the gopis?" So the attendants or whoever were there, they went to the gopis and said that okay, Krishna is having like this headache. So the gopis were like, "Oh, Krishna is having headache." They were so much in anxiety, and only the dust of his feet dust of his devotees can cure the headache. So the gopis were like, yes, no, they took out no dust from him and they gave so much of to the attendant, like, okay, you take the dust and please let Krishna's headache be cured very soon. So he asked that, are you not afraid that if your feet dust goes to the forehead of the Supreme Lord, then you will all be going to hell? So they were like, gopis were like, that's all right. We don't care if we are in hell or anywhere. We just want Krishna is pleased, Krishna's headache is cured. So this is an example of this is why Krishna doesn't give bhakti so easily to everyone, because whoever is actually a pure devotee, Krishna becomes the sold out servant. And in this particular pastime, we see that the gopis were not even bothered. They were not bothered, they go to hell or heaven or wherever. They just wanted Krishna to be satisfied. And so that is where the answer is, that whether one is in hell or heaven or earthly planet or wherever, if one has Krishna with oneself, or one is fully Krishna conscious, they are completely aloof from the external things. Even if they are in hell, a devotee may go to the hell, in fact, to preach. Just like Srila Prabhupada, what is this material world? It's like a garbage place. It's like a dukkhalayam shashvatam, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is a pure devotee. Why was he sent? Of course, he was sent for by the Lord. So why was he sent here? And all the while, he was not affected by any material things. Like, we may get distracted from our bhakti because of something happens in our life or something. But Prabhupada was fully Krishna conscious 24/7. Because he's a pure devotee. So even at the time of his when he was about to wrap up his pastimes in the material world, when he was on his deathbed, exactly not death, because he's Vaishnavas never die. So practically, physically he was very sick. He was practically like a skeleton. But till the end, he was dictating the purports to Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is not possible for an ordinary person. He was completely aloof from the external consciousness. He was fully focused on Krishna conscious. So though physically it may seem okay, he left his body, or as a devotee has to die, but devotees never die. Even now, when we are reading Prabhupada's books, he is present in his books. That's what he says also, that I'll always be present in my books. So same way, liberation is, it doesn't matter. It is said that liberation personified stands folded handed at the door of a pure devotee. So Pure devotee, they have they just want to please Krishna, they just want to um, serve Krishna, they are satisfied with that. And because Krishna is always present with them, with such a pure devotee, so they're not worried about liberation or not, because they are already liberated in one sense, even if they are in the material world. Did that help, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, totally understood. Mataji, I have one more question. I personally feel like there are some levels of bhakti, Mataji. Like some devotees uh, give their full time to service to Lord. Some give partly time of their day to day life to service, and some are grihastha who, apart from after getting time from materialistic world, they give some time to Lord. So the little time which vigrihasts give in service of Lord, uh, and willing to give more time, like remembering him all the time, chanting in mind all the time, did Krishna consider my little time of service in his lotus feet?
Hare Krishna. Um, yes, there are different varnas, ashramas. So there are brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. So brahmachari mostly are living in a temple, um, and they are 24/7. I mean, in a temple or doing some service and all. Or a grahastha, maybe working a job, maintaining, um, taking care of the family and so called. I mean, making a Krishna conscious way he's trying to, and preaching also whenever he's getting his time. And so he's engaged in service in a particular way by doing his job and utilizing it in the results in service of Lord and all. And there are vanaprasthas who are retired from the family life, and they are giving full time to preaching and so on. And sannyasis, they are um, focused on vigorous preaching. So vanaprastha sannyasi, so that is mostly comes under preaching and all that. So coming back to grahasthas or our case, um, we should keep Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as our role model in that case, because he was also a grahastha. He is one of the acharyas in our parampara. He was the father of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a magistrate. This was during the British time, and he had, if I'm correct, 12 sons. I don't exactly remember. So he was a grahastha and he was a magistrate, which was like the highest post one could get, an Indian could get during the British rule. But he was so expert, he would finish his work so fast and then come back to give his time to writing literatures and preaching and so on. So we should uh, take him as our role model in that case, that okay, I may be working a job outside, or I may be maintaining family responsibility, this and that, but everything should be done keeping Krishna in the center. If I'm working a job also, I should be thinking, okay, I'm giving so much time to my job and everything, but whatever results will come, I will use that in a Krishna conscious way. Hmm. And or I'll give for Krishna. And whenever one is working also, now this is what Guru Mata had once mentioned. If one is working in a corporate company, corporate job, then one people generally, because when I was working also, people will be hearing songs and all on earphones. So devotee can also hear, use his earphones to hear some kirtans, something while working, whatever is feasible, whenever it is feasible, depending upon focus needed, how much focus is needed for the work. But generally people hear songs, movie songs. So devotee can also utilize that to hear devotional things. This is just an example. And coming back, yeah, early morning. Another thing I have heard is the sandwich program. Like early morning, one should focus on one's sadhana, mangalarti, or one's chanting and everything. Then maybe in the daytime, one has gone to work, and once the devotee comes back, in evening there should be nice some reading of Krishna book or something. So so in the morning and evening, or evening time, is fully Krishna conscious activities, and middle one may be doing whatever work. So whatever one may be doing, one should try to make the environment at home very Krishna conscious. And whatever time we are able to give, if we are trying sincerely, then Krishna will arrange that he will give us more time. So somehow we'll be able to make more time for our personal sadhana or some specific Krishna conscious activities. So he sees the sincerity, then he will arrange that.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your questions.
Mataji, I never have courage to ask question to Guru Mataji. I don't know why. She always said that ask question in the morning. But in spite of, I have so much question in my mind, but I never have that courage to ask her. I don't know why.
No, you ask. When you will ask once, twice, thrice, 4 times, then you will get addicted to asking that. I mean, even if you will not have question, you will try to brainstorm your this to think of some question and ask. Because once you start doing it, I can give you, I can guarantee you will get addicted to actually interact with them.
Okay, Mataji. Mataji, are you my Path Pradarshak Guru?
I don't know. I'm just an instrument. Somehow, I am trying to be.
I can I consider you as my Path Pradarshak Guru?
I do not know. I can't say that. I am not doing much anything. But you can focus on practicing Krishna consciousness.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Anybody else, Mataji? Pamela Mataji, if you have anything, you can put it in the chat box. Or Anjali Mataji. Probably Anjali Mataji is in bus, I guess. Okay, if not, then we will close for now. No questions. Any points? No questions, that's okay. But any points, anything you would like to share? Because I know you are doing very nice services and attending start meeting classes, and you know a lot about Krishna consciousness by now. So any points you want to share? Okay, you have to give up your shyness one day, Mataji. So, but okay. Anyways, that's humility. So thank you so much, Mataji. We'll close for now. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam.